Monroe, Washington, population 18,000, does have something to brag about. The only NASCAR-sanctioned track in the state of Washington. And the drivers are looking for something to brag about, too. They want to win here as the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West comes to Evergreen. Up-and-coming stars and veteran drivers have all gathered here at Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington. It's the K&N Pro Series West autograph session taking place right now. Drivers pretty well locked and loaded, and they know who to focus on. Todd Gilliland has been dominating the series right now. He is your points leader and running very strong. Sean Merriman, former NFL player. Yeah, he's a co-owner of one of the cars out here, so he's going to watch as well for this. The Napa Auto Parts 150, Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington. Hello, everyone. Jason Wygant, joined by Brandon McReynolds, who's put in plenty of laps at this track himself. And Derek Perniciglio will be patrolling the racetrack all day and all night. Perfect conditions for racing. So, Brandon, you've logged some time on this track. Give us an idea what Evergreen Speedway is all about.
Yeah, it's a really fast, short track up here in Washington. Long straightaways, really flat corners. It's going to be tough handling for these K&N West Series guys tonight, but I think it's going to be action-packed racing.
And that's what we'd like to see. Gilliland, as we mentioned, is your points leader. His teammate, Chris Eggleston's going to have to start a championship drive right now. He's down by 18, so he's in contention, but he needs to outscore the 16 tonight. And then a nice battle between some rookies, Kraus and Rogers there fighting for third and fourth. Let's find out what this track's like. Let's go to Derek.
Jason, Brandon, welcome to the Evergreen Speedway, and we are here in the Pacific Northwest in Monroe, Washington. And the biggest story about this racetrack this weekend is the racetrack itself. I mean, look at this place. Long straightaways, flat corners where you can skate around, and plus the surface of the track. Check out the surface. It's old, it's worn out, there's cracks in it. I mean, I can almost fit my fingertip into some of the cracks that are here on the surface. That means tire management is going to be at a premium. All of the drivers said today the biggest thing they're going to have to worry about is tire management. Keep the car underneath you. Make sure you have that last little bit of rubber on the car at race's end.
All right, thanks, Derek. It has been a season dominated by the teammates of Eggleston and Gilliland and the Bill McAnally team. The only one to get in there and get a win was on the road course, some guy named Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, he's all right, isn't he?
Yeah, he just wanted some extra laps there at Sonoma, so he jumped in a K&N car and won it. Back to the ovals, though, here. There's Jesse Iwuji. Now, we mentioned Sean Merriman, the former NFL linebacker, owning one of the cars here, and Jesse will be doing the driving. Let's talk to another driver, our pole sitter, going to catch up to Derek.
150 laps. That's the distance here tonight in the Napa Auto Parts 150. And Chris Eggleston starts on the pole, and here he is, just coming from driver intros, and 150 laps here tonight. You've run good in the past here. You think you can win today?
I really hope so. We have a really good Napa Filters Toyota number 99. Everybody over at Bill McAnally Racing just did such a great job preparing this race car for tonight, and just so excited to have the speed that we have. We haven't had this speed characteristically before, but really looking forward to it. We got great short run speed, and beyond that, I feel like we have a really good long run car. We just got to be really careful not to get too greedy and burn up the tires there at the end. It's a very long race. It's probably the most abusive racetrack we go to, so really excited to get the show under the road, and hopefully we can pull out another W.
You've had such great success at places like Orange Show Speedway and Colorado National. A lot of flat tracks. What is it about those flat tracks you like a lot?
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like that's just been my style. I guess that's closer to the characteristics at Colorado. Colorado is fairly flat, and it just suits my driving style. More or less, you just got to finesse it in and off, and it's all about throttle control, I feel like, instead of hunkering down on a high bank track and just going. So for whatever the case may be, maybe I can't explain it. I love these flat tracks. I love coming here to Evergreen Speedway here at Monroe, Washington. The fans are phenomenal. They're awesome. And like I said, just hoping to put on a good show for all of them and putting this Napa Filters Toyota out front.
Chris Eggleston looking for win number 4 this year.
Chris is one of the most talented guys when it comes to these flat tracks like he was just talking about. It'll be interesting to see if he can pull it off. He's won at a wore-out track like Tucson, like his home track in Colorado, so it'll be interesting to see if he can bring it home tonight.
K&N Pro Series Racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. Almost ready to go racing here, K&N Pro Series West on NBCSN. It's the Napa Auto Parts 150. That's 150 laps tonight. One more time, let's send it to Derek.
Well, one of our Who to Watch drivers tonight will be rolling off in the 4th position. That's the red and black number 7 of Will Rogers. He also sits 4th in the West Series points. And the last time we saw Will Rogers, he was sitting in victory lane. But it wasn't during a West race, it was during the East Series race at the Watkins Glen International. Will Rogers grew up going to road course races. He considers himself a road course specialist, and after talking with him earlier today, he said he doesn't quite consider himself an oval track guy just yet. But he's teamed up with a strong team with Jefferson Pitts Racing, and every time they hit these oval tracks, he's showing more and more competitiveness each time he hops in the car.
All right, thanks, Derek. Yeah, that could be interesting. Everyone wondering who can get in there and battle it out with Eggleston and Gilliland, who have been dominating. Ready to go, and the outside line looks like what the pole sitter has picked here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to see that all night long. That outside groove, you can just get rolling, get that good exit off the corner off of turn 2. But as you can see, hardly any banking here at Evergreen Speedway, so it's going to be really tough on those tires. Guys are going to be sliding around. I think we'll see this groove kind of single out and everyone just try to fight for that track position later on towards the second half of this race.
Okay, so if you're Eggleston and you have the pole position, do you go all out from the start, or is it all about tire conservation and maybe we don't see what he has early, or do you try to win from the front?
I guess if I had the right answer, I probably would have won a race here. I've been a runner-up, so I'm not sure. We'll have to see how this one plays out.
Okay, good point. The outside, which is actually the inside here, is Taylor Riddle. It's his first ever K&N race, but he's got a lot of laps on this track, so he should be good.
There you see Michael Self on the outside of row 4. I know Michael's been trying to get that season on track. We'll see what he has in store for tonight as he's trying to get his season back going.
Yeah, and same thing as we go to the rest of the grid. Julia Landauer saying struggling a bit this year. She's not where she wants to be from practice. Going to try to focus on the long run here and hope she can move up as well. We're just about ready to go racing in the Napa Auto Parts 150. And as we do in a lot of these K&N Pro Series races, 75 laps in, halfway we will stop. And then the drivers get a pit stop, and then we will have a restart. So not a hot pit stop, but it will be a chance to change tires and make some adjustments. And we are underway, and Eggleston wasting no time, taking that outside and taking the lead.
I think that answers our question as to what he was going to do in his strategy. I think he's banking on keeping that track position, getting out there in clean air. I know that sounds a little crazy to short track, but when no one's in front of you, that's definitely the road you want to take, and he's pulling away to early lead.
Taylor Riddle in the 27, and Will Rogers battling it out for a second. Again, Riddle, it's his first time he's ever raced one of these K&N cars. But he's actually a local product who's won some late model races here, so he knows his way around the track. We'll see how quickly he can adapt as he tries to run Eggleston down now that he's cleared the 7.
Yeah, same thing as Chris Eggleston. Taylor Riddle, he's always run really well at Tucson Speedway, which is a lot like Evergreen, and that track surface being really bumpy and abrasive. I think he's going to have a really strong run tonight. He's starting to inch in on the 99 to Chris Eggleston just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely giving a run. And we got a battle here. Nicole Behar, she's actually in her backup car after a crash earlier.
Yeah, Nicole's had some strong runs this year. It just seems like every single time she gets inside that top 5, she has a little bit of bad luck, but I know she's looking forward to coming here. She also has a lot of laps around this racetrack and fighting for that track position and the spot inside the top 5 in the early stages of this race.
Yeah, the 9 is Michael Self, who's able to hold her at bay. And you see he is holding on to that top 5 spot as Eggleston in the 99 leads. Look at Riddle starting to close and roll up now on the leader, and he's bringing that 7 of Will Rogers right with him.
Yeah, what we're seeing here with Chris Eggleston, he's taking that early entry into the corner a little bit more diamond as he lets it wash up the racetrack, trying to get forward drive as he exits off of turn 2. Taylor Riddle running a little bit lower, so his car must be turning pretty good right now at the start of this race.
And it's Derek Kraus in the 19. He is 4th with Self in that number 9 right behind him. And Self trying to get the nose underneath here, get the drive off.
Yeah, Michael's really working the inside of this racetrack, working down there on the apron. There tends to be some grip down there at the very bottom. He's just got to be careful to make sure the 19 doesn't pin him too much to where he starts spinning that right rear tires. You see him getting a little sideways up off of 2.
He's determined to make it work, and it looks like Self is going to get it done. But at what cost with all the talk about tire conservation? Is it worth working that hard for the pass.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think right at the beginning of this race, you got to really be aggressive and get as much as you can and then go into that tire conservation mode. I think that was a really good move for Michael Self. He's got a lot of experience around here. He's run here years ago, so he knows what he's doing, and I think it's time that he'll start settling in to make sure and take care of those tires.
And Self, like Bihar, who we mentioned earlier, is in a backup car, had a test here, and they wrecked the primary car. So pretty impressive how quickly they've gotten this backup dialed in as he tries to go to the front. Meanwhile, Riddle shadowing everything that Eggleston is doing right now.
Yeah, I'm sure Chris Eggleston's spotter right here is telling him just that gap back behind him, so he's probably doing a really good job taking care of his tires.
And the battle back here, you see the number 10 of Levine. Said his goal is to finish in the top 10, and he is in 11th right now. So hustling, try to make that move. Let's check in again with Derek Pertisiglio.
Chris Eggleston continues to lead the way out there. He started from the pole, but he sits second in the points right now, and it looks like it's going to be a two-horse race for the West Series Championship between he and his teammate Todd Gilliland. When I asked him about the points, I said, are you thinking about the championship right now? He says a little bit, but we're not dwelling too much on it. What we need to do is stay aggressive with these remaining 4 races after today. That's going to be the only way we're going to be able to catch Todd Gilliland.
And Gilliland's struggling a bit right now. See that blue and yellow Napa car back there behind Bihar. This is Bihar in the 33. So he's got some work to do with his teammate pretty far out front. So Chris Eggleston's championship run needs to begin. And so far, so good as he leads early here in Washington. Back here at Evergreen Speedway in Washington, and we have a restart coming. Why? Well, we had a crash during the break, and we can show you what happened here. It's the 11 of Takuma Koga gets turned here by Kraus.
Yeah, as a driver coming down these front straightaways, you can't believe with how flat those corners are. It almost looks like you're going down into a tunnel. So those lap cars are really hard to negotiate. Tough break for Nicole Bihar, just getting caught up in someone else's mess.
So Bihar goes to the pit, gets repaired. She's back on the grid, and same with Koga, but they're going to be in the back here for the restart. But the car's pretty much still functional. We're back underway. Another chance for Riddle to maybe make the inside work on Eggleston. Oh, and he's got a wheel on him right now. Eggleston going to try to drive off this corner on the outside.
Yeah, strong move for Taylor Riddle right there, hanging with Chris Eggleston in the 99, but you just can't give up that forward drive. Chris Eggleston got that car turned back to the gas, low and straight, taking back away the lead.
And Self in that green and white car trying to make the inside work. He's made a couple passes already there. But don't look now, your series points leader, Todd Gilliland, has moved up to 4th and is starting to close on your leader. So he's been making up ground.
I was watching the same thing. We thought we were starting to count him out, and here he comes as we approach the halfway mark.
Okay, so your championship contenders are 1st and 4th. Let's go back to Derek.
Not a bad run so far for the driver in 2nd place. That's 26-year-old Taylor Riddle. He hails from right here in Washington, and he's won quite a few races here at the Evergreen Speedway, a lot of super late model shows. It's his first time here in a K&N car. He says that he's learning these bigger, heavier cars. He says he's going to use this 150 laps as a learning experience as he goes, and he's getting a pretty good experience right now, chasing your leader, Chris Eggleston. He runs in the 2nd spot right now. A really strong run for Taylor Riddle.
Absolutely, Derek. Still looking for running room in some of these corners, maybe to get up alongside him. Is this a shock to see someone adjust to the car this quickly, or if you have track knowledge, it just pays off no matter what you're behind?
I think that track time really pays off. Taylor Riddle's a really smart racer, wins a lot of super late model races up and down the West Coast. He's a smart guy, he's a smart racer, got some maturity on his side, and we're seeing that maturity pay off for him and Chris Eggleston. So he's really adapted to these heavier cars really well. The only thing I'm watching that he's got to be really careful of is not to overheat that right front tire. Super late model is a lighter car. You can run lower on the racetrack through the whole entire corner because they turn better. Chris Eggleston's letting his car breathe, giving that right front tire a little bit of a break to get that strong exit. So Taylor's just got to pay attention that he doesn't overheat that right front.
Yeah, let's watch the line as they come into turns 1 and 2 here. Eggleston's been drifting a little bit higher. Oh, and Riddle now did about the same. Riddle had been a little bit more underneath him previous laps around. So maybe some lessons already being learned, but they've broken away from Will Rogers there in 3rd, and then Gilliland and Self. It's now a 3-driver battle, but it's for 3rd, and Self still likes that low line. Yeah,
absolutely. It's definitely a good spot to be here in Evergreen Speedway in that top 5. you can really set the tone for your entire race and make sure you don't burn up your equipment. You can add a little bit of rear brake to your car if you're not cutting the center of the corner. Just dialing that in there might help you get down in the corner and let you roll the center. So these guys are in a good spot. Being able to have a little bit of gap on the next guy behind them and tell their crew chief what they need for the second half of this race.
Riddle is right back behind Eggleston again. Now, he did say before the race, going to have to learn as he goes as far as conserving tires in these bigger cars that he's not used to. I don't know if he's being conservative or not. He's certainly giving Eggleston all he can handle right now, although we certainly don't also know how hard Eggleston's going when it comes to tire management. Either way, it's making for a pretty good race up front. He keeps looking for room.
Yeah, he's putting the pressure on Chris Eggleston in the 99 right now. We've been talking about it time after time. He just keeps rolling that bottom on Chris Eggleston. If he can ever get to that quarter panel, that left rear, and take away the exit from the 99 to Chris Eggleston, he might be able to outbrake him, whether it's getting into turn 1 or into turn 3.
Eggleston second here last year and third the year before. So maybe this is a complete climb up the ladder, third, second, and first in 3 consecutive years. That's what he would like to have happen by the end of tonight. But Riddle not going to make it easy on him, and you still cannot count out Gilliland back there in a battle right now. But he's been very strong this season, so we're early, only about a third of the way into this 150-lap race.
I think what we're seeing here, too, with Chris Eggleston, the 99, being a teammate to Todd Gilliland, is their equipment's getting better. I talked to his crew chief, Ty Joyner. I worked with Ty Joyner back in 2015, one of the smartest guys in the garage area. They actually just built that KBM car. This is the second race on it, so I think we're seeing that gap between the 99 and the 16 really close up, and I'm sure that makes Bill McNally happy having both of his cars run up front.
But they got to fend off Riddle right now. He's putting the heat on. Let's check in with our next generation of NASCAR stars. It's Next Gen with Nicole Bihar.
Hi, I'm Nicole Bihar, driver of the number 33 Custom Welding and Fabrication Toyota Camry. I'm from Otis Orchards, Washington, and driving full-time. I started racing at 8 years old in go-karts and worked my way up through baby grands, 4-cylinder, modified, super late models, and now in the K&N Pro Series West. I like how we get to go to all these different tracks and travel across the country. I think the farthest we go is Iowa. And I mean, traveling all across the country and getting new tracks is just helping you build up your resume. I'm Nicole Bihar, and that's your NASCAR Next Gen profile.
And Nicole, after getting caught up in that wreck earlier, is closing on the top 10. Closing up on the top 3 right now is Todd Gilliland, your series leader. He has taken the spot from Will Rogers. Things starting to come around now. That's the same car he drove to a win here last year, but they've actually been struggling with it here in 2017.
For sure. I was a little surprised watching him on Friday that they were struggling, but it seems like he's been able to save his tires, and he's starting to inch his way back up through the field.
All right, so he's up to third. See if he can close on the leaders, and we're going to go back to Derek.
Well, guys, after talking with Todd Gilliland earlier today, he said that his car was just terrible. He said it was the worst car that he's ever driven in a long time. But the crew went back to work on it. They started to get the setup right on the car. He was running 7th a few laps ago. He did start this race off in the 9th position, but now he's made his way up to the 3rd spot. So as the car starts to get longer and longer into this run, it's getting better and better.
Well, even 3rd place, the standard he's set this year, we're like, what's going on with this guy? He's won 5 of the 9 races this year. That's why he has the points lead. So what do you think? Is he got it straightened out? Can he make a run at that top 2?
I know he was complaining about being tight in practice on Friday, and you know, Derek touched on it quite a bit. They've been struggling a lot, rolling the center of the corner. But one of the things that might help him with as this run goes on is he might have some forward drive in that car. If you're too loose, you're just skating around, losing time. The back end's coming around. So that might be playing into Todd's hands right here as we approach this halfway break.
Well, it appears he is closing on Riddle and Eggleston, who are still your leaders. Eggleston in the 99 has led every lap. Riddle has kept him honest throughout. But further back here, you got Storm and Ron Norman, one of the veterans out here, the number 40. Battle for 7th with the 32, Cody Vanderwall right behind.
I know Ron Norman was really excited as this year has gone on, having those H. Scott cars that they purchased over the offseason from the East Coast team. He's been running really well. Him and Matt Levine, they've been getting better and better each week. Actually have a little bit of an alliance with Jefferson Pitch Racing. Those guys like to help him out quite a bit. Really smart guys, and we can see it paying off as Ron Norman's having a strong run.
And the 6th, Julia Landauer making moves. Just snuck underneath Vanderwall there. Takes the position away, so she's up to 8th. There she is in the number 6. Said the long run might be what they need to rely on here, and as this run has gone on, she has moved forward.
Yeah, I know she's been really aggravated with her season so far. She's had a lot of ups and downs, but I really respect her attitude. Julia's been really upbeat. She's been very supportive of her team, and it looks like they're starting to get it back on track.
Oh, but not for Vanderwall, who just got past there. And now, oh, there's the problem. Right front is down, and he's headed into the pits. So that's going to shake things up quite a bit inside that top 10 as we go back to the leaders. It's still Eggleston and Riddle, but not much closing up from third place. Still a pretty good gap.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Taylor Riddle. He's doing the right thing, and he's in a perfect spot here. Oh, we got one spun around here down in 1 and 2.
Oh, okay, so that's going to bring out our second caution. We had that crash earlier with Bihar and Koga. Now another one. Souza, who we had battling in 10th earlier in this race, has gone all the way around.
Yeah, looks like Todd Souza's going to get back pointed in the right direction.
See if we can tell what happened here. Does he get squeezed?
That's a tough part of the racetrack. We saw it with Takuma Koga earlier down into turn 1 getting run over by the 19 of Derek Kraus, but it's really hard to go into this corner side by side. There's just not a lot of room. You jump on that brake pedal and around goes Todd Souza in the 13. Doesn't look like any damage there, so should be able to get back going and finish his night out.
All right, we'll have another restart. And we'll see now, with Gilliland going to gain all that time back, he'll start right behind the leaders. Might have another run in him, try to take the lead. Stay with us. It's the Napa Auto Parts 150 here on NBCSN. Jason Wygant, Brandon McReynolds, and Derek Perniciglio calling the action. We have a restart after a caution, and we're underway. Chris Eggleston immediately shoots back to the lead in the 99.
That top lane really got going there. Will Rogers fighting hard on the outside of his teammate of Taylor Riddle. That's where that experience, and we talked about it, Taylor Riddle knows how to get around this racetrack, but that's the restarts, the transmissions, getting up to speed, the power difference between these K&N cars and the super late models it's really hurting him on these restarts as we get closer to halfway.
Yeah, we had Rogers back to 4th at one point. Now he's 2nd, and Gilliland, they are battling hard to try to get past Riddle. A little bit of bumping and banging there. Gilliland takes over 3rd place. So a rough restart, absolutely, for Riddle. Goes from 2nd to 4th. Now let's see if that 7, Will Rogers, can make a run at the leader, Eggleston.
Right here at this point in the race with just a few laps to go before we take our competition break, these guys are really pushing these race cars, seeing what they got, making sure they can utilize all their speed and give their crew chief some good information about what they need in the second half.
Taylor Riddle in 4th, rebounding now, trying to get back around. Gilliland in 3rd, Gilliland in the 16. And they're both looking for lines on the low side. 7 of Will Rogers manages to get back down there.
Yeah, it looked like he got up a little too high, got that 7 car skating around. It looked like it was getting a little loose. Almost needs to turn it back down just a little sooner to protect that spot from the 16 to Todd Gilliland.
Oh, you can tell they're racing now with this competition caution on the way. And Gilliland, this time, able to bust through and get back to the 2nd place spot.
I know Chris Eggleston's spotter and crew chief Ty Joyner got to be telling that 16's coming. I know they're teammates, but he's showing a lot of strength here with just a few laps left before the break.
And just behind them, then you've got Derek Kraus doing a good job trying to keep them in sight. As you watch 1, 2, 3, 4, he's 5th. And maybe hoping these guys can slow each other up a bit. Riddle and Rogers battling hard for 3rd.
I definitely think Taylor Riddle has a 2nd place car right now. He was able to hang with Chris Eggleston in the 99 most of this segment. So I think we're going to see him really learn from that restart, talk to his crew chief of Jerry Pitts about what he needs to do different on the restart, and hopefully he'll learn from that. That'll help him later on in this race.
Pretty fun the way this has turned out. You have your 2 established winners in the series this year and your points leaders. And then 2 newcomers getting in there. Will Rogers learning the oval game. And, of course, the debut in this series for the 27 of Riddle. And they have kept these Bill McAnally teammates honest. And they're still battling with each other. Riddle down to the inside again.
Yeah, I know Jeff Jefferson and Jerry Pitts, the 2 car owners of these cars right here, they got to be scratching their heads, hoping these guys don't wipe each other out. But that was good experience move for Taylor Riddle, rolling the bottom. I think the 7 gave him a little bit of room, knowing that he has a little bit better car right now. So heads up move for Will Rogers in the 7 right there.
So Rogers back to 4th. We mentioned Kraus in 5th. And we're going to see if the teammates up front might engage with each other in the same way that these 2 have. See if Gilliland can make a move on Eggleston, but time's running out in the first half of this race. We're going to have the competition caution here in a moment. Going to be the one chance to make some adjustments and get some fresh rubber on these cars.
Yeah, Todd Gilliland's rolling the bottom really well right there. Just looks like he's going to run out of time before this competition break.
Yeah, this will be the final lap before the caution comes out. So this should be the restart order as we get into the second half of the race, and perhaps no surprise, a little bit of a slow start for Gilliland, but now the teammates are 1 and 2, slugging it out for this championship with 18 points between them, and maybe battling for the race win tonight. And there is the halfway mark competition caution. And this will be the one opportunity to really change things up right now with the race cars.
Yeah, they'll be able to come down and take 4 tires. I'm sure they're talking to their crew chiefs, you know, the drivers, letting them know what they need. I'm sure a lot of these guys are hoping they can get a little more forward drive in those cars, but you definitely got to be careful to not over adjust and make that car too tight in the center. You'll start sliding those tires.
So we're ready. The first half has set the battle lines between the 99 and the 16, but don't count out those 2 newcomers. Been challenging them all night long. We'll be back for the second half after this. We're halfway through this Evergreen Speedway's round number 10 of the K&N Pro Series West. The 99 of Chris Eggleston got out front early. Here was our pole sitter. We had a little crash here. Takuma Koga, who was a lap car, got spun. Nicole Bihar tangled with him. They got back into the race, and Todd Souza goes around and around from the inside. Eggleston dominated the first half, dealt with pressure from the 27 of Taylor Riddle, and eventually his teammate here in the 16. Todd Gilliland was able to close up on him just as the competition caution came out. So we're ready to restart them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to see Todd Gilliland really put the pressure on his teammate Chris Eggleston in the 99. Everyone's got fresh tires, and that's the best way to really attack this restart and see what you got and set up yourself to get that track position as we lead into the end of this race.
Oh, we definitely saw some aggression in the opening laps of the first half. So we expect it to ratchet up even further here in the second half of the Napa Auto Parts 150. Let's see which line's going to work. Gilliland on the inside. Eggleston has been working that outside all night long, and he manages to get the lead back. And here comes the 7 of Will Rogers again.
That outside just seems to be the way to go. It's almost like as you approach turn 1, you don't have to put as much wheel in the car so you can keep your momentum up. Chris Eggleston's definitely mastered these restarts in the late going.
And the outside line is going to pay off. Look at that. Will Rogers works his way past your series leader to get up into second. And here comes the 27 of Riddle also. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think what we'll see right here with Todd Gilliland is he's going to be smart. He knows he doesn't have the best car, and when your car isn't handling properly, you have to take care of those tires so much more than a guy like Taylor Riddle in the 27, Will Rogers in the 7, and his teammate Chris Eggleston. You got to really take care of those tires, and I think that's what we're going to see Todd Gilliland doing.
And Derek Kraus here in the 19 trying to go by as well. Wow, this has really come unwound for your series leader. He's battling for the lead at the beginning of the restart, and now he is clinging to 5th with Michael Self in the 9, and Julie Landauer is putting in a really good run here. They might be able to get him as well.
I think he doesn't need to go any further back than that. If you can stay within that top 5, you'll be in striking distance, but any further than that, if you get a late race caution, you're lined up 2 by 2, you just can't go anywhere on those restarts.
Landauer down all the way to the bottom, even some sparks flying. She makes the pass on Self, and now she's trying to set up Gilliland.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see Todd Gilliland dropping back this far. We talked about it. I know he needs to save those tires. You can tell he's trying to really pinch Julie Landauer in the 6 down, trying to keep that track position. It's almost like maybe they took low air pressure and they're waiting on those air pressures to start building up for Todd Gilliland.
And now 33, Bihar starting to move forward as well. She would be next in line behind that battle. She's gotten around Self. Door to door between Landauer in the 6, trying to get Gilliland again. Can he get the drive off? Oh, he's pinching her down on the bottom for certain. Yeah, and it worked.
That's where that diamond really pays off. If you let that car wash up the hill a little bit and you get someone up underneath you, can really take away that exit. And now he's really trying to protect that position from Julie Landauer running the bottom of the racetrack in 1 and 2.
But you can see now they've bunched up the field behind them, and they've allowed the rest of the drivers to start pulling further away. So it's back to the Eggleston-Rogers-Riddle battle up front. And Kraus sneaking in there as well.
How about Nicole Bihar right there?
Yeah.
She's in a backup car, had a little bit of damage from an incident earlier. Hanging tough, battle inside the top 10 here.
Yeah, she got caught up in a crash earlier, so started at the back of the field. one of our restarts at the beginning of this race, and has been able to fight all the way up now where she can see the top 5. Landauer still pressing. Some great racing here at Evergreen. It's had a lot of great racing through the years. Let's go back in the day. Last time we ran the Craftsman Truck Series here was in 2000. Joe Ruttman and Jack Sprague battling off the start. And Ryan McGlynn's going to go into the tires. Pretty crazy there. These guys were tough back in these days.
They were. They raced hard. There. See Brendan Gaughan getting looped around by Jack Sprague in the 24. These guys raced hard every single lap. Growing up as a young man, it was really cool to watch these guys trade a little pain on the short tracks.
Sprague able to hold on for the win over Randy Tolsma. Yeah, they could grow mustaches no problem in the Truck Series back then. They were a little older than today's group. So good job by Jack Sprague. That, again, was the last time Truck Series came and raced here at Evergreen. Back to the 2017 event. Lap traffic now could be an issue as the 99 starts to close in. That's Chris Eggleston, your leader. 7 of Will Rogers and the 27 of Taylor Riddle continue to fight for second.
Chris really had to go high into turn 3. You mentioned it, trying to navigate through that lap traffic. Got that car pointed, got a good exit, but allowed the 7.
Oh, that is your points leader.
That must have been that flat tire. I think we were talking about it. We thought he had that low air pressure, but he looks like he has an issue with the right front. Might have broke apart or has a flat tire on the right side.
Yeah, and there are no scheduled pit stops in these races, so he's going to lose a ton of time if they can even get that fixed. Let's check in with Derek.
You know, guys, we've talked about this racetrack being very hard on tires, and nobody is exempt from getting a flat tire, including your point leader, Todd Gilliland. This is the tire that came off his car. You can see it's still very hot and it's smoking. He has some cuts in the sidewall, but that came after the fact, after talking to some of the crew members. When the tire went flat, the rim just started to chew up the outside edge of the tire. So unfortunately, Todd Gilliland had to come in, take on a different tire, and get back out there on the track to salvage some very important points so he can win this West Series championship.
Yes, the 18-point deficit that Eggleston faced coming into this one. He might maximize his score here. Got the pole and is trying to win this one while leading, and his teammate is way back. This is a golden opportunity for Eggleston.
Absolutely. I know Will Rogers in the 7 and the 27 of Taylor Riddle. They're going to fight hard. They know that 16's out of the race. He's been the guy to beat all year long. As you mentioned, really strong opportunity for Chris Eggleston to close that points gap here at Evergreen.
Yeah, so let's see if the 7 and the 27 can ruin that. They just think it's their chance to win a darn race, and they would love to do it. Rogers and Riddle, they have been about this close this entire event. It's really fun to watch this battle.
Yeah, teammates battling hard here with just under 25 laps to go, really pushing it right here. You just got to make sure not overwork those tires. Chris Eggleston obviously has a really strong car tonight. These guys have been battling for second all night long, just trying to get a little more distance and close that gap to the 99.
Well, so much talk here at Evergreen has been about conserving tires. It did not work out for your points leader, Gilliland. Does anyone else have anything left to make a charge? Stay tuned. Into the stretch run of this Napa Auto Parts 150 from Washington. The battling teammates, the 7 of Will Rogers, the 27 of Taylor Riddle. They've been fighting for second for most of this race and trying to keep your leader, Chris Eggleston, in sight with 9 to go.
Taylor Riddle, he's searching around. You watched him down there in 3 and 4. He ran all the way to the top side trying to get good drive off. You know, I'm sure he's being patient with his teammate there, Will Rogers, but I think he's got a little bit better car. He's just got to make sure, and even as this race comes to a close, keep that right rear tire hooked up. The more you heat it up, being aggressive, you're just going to lose overall grip and not be able to have that overall speed.
And that is Vanderwall, the 32. They're attempting to put a lap down. Okay, we talked so much about conserving the tires, but with 7 to go, is that out the window? Is it time to go?
Yeah, I think so, but, you know, like we were saying with Taylor Riddle, he's still got to make sure and be really disciplined with that throttle pedal. The only way to create grip is by keeping those old wore-out tires hooked up, and the only way to do that is be smooth. We always talk about growing up, having an egg up underneath the throttle and don't crack the egg, and that's what these guys really got to focus on to keep that overall speed. But I'm sure they're charging those corners, pushing those tires as hard as they can, but making sure they keep traction in them as well.
And now into lap traffic is the leader, Eggleston in that 99, working on Norman in the 40. There is second and third, and Kraus in fourth, starting to close up a bit on that 27 of Riddle. So don't count out the 19 in that black car, starting to find some lines, and maybe can make a pass late in this race.
Derek Kraus having a really strong run. He's never been to this racetrack at Evergreen Speedway, but he's got a really strong spotter of Eric Holmes up on the spotter stand, coaching him through. Eric's won some races here, always ran well in the 16 Napa car for Bill McAnally, so great driver coach up on that spotter stand. And Chris Eggleston, he's in a good spot right here. I know he's trying to navigate through that lap traffic and keep those guys behind him, but I'm sure he's counting those laps down, and just as a leader, you're always kind of waiting on something to go wrong and have that late race caution.
Especially as this battle heats up even further. Been a great one all night between the 7 and the 27, and look at sliding that car around. Derek Kraus gonna let it all hang out to try to move up to third. He's down to the inside. Riddle goes way high.
Yeah, Riddle's been pushing that groove out, trying to get that forward drive that we've been preaching all night long. I'm sure Will Rogers in the 7 is going, come on, guys, cut me a break. These are 2 lap cars racing side by side. He's just trying to figure out which one's going to prevail. Might try to take it 3 wide. He can't waste any time here as he's got those 2 racers behind him in the 27 and 19 breathing down his back.
And the 19, Kraus, shows the inside. Riddle's able to get down there and block it. 3 wide nearly coming out of this corner and dealing with the lap traffic, the 13 of Todd Souza.
Yeah, these guys, they got to be on their toes. They got to be aggressive, but you got to be easy.
Oh! And getting punted by the 19 of Kraus is the 27 of Riddle.
Man, what a tough break for Taylor Riddle. He's been having such a strong car all night long. Really good run for him, being a rookie to this series. I know he's going to be frustrated with Derek Kraus, but you coming down the end, everyone's going to be aggressive.
And what did you say about the leader, Eggleston? Waiting for something to go wrong, and here it is. The caution comes out when he apparently had victory on lock, and we're going to have a late race restart.
I'm sure he's going to be calling me next week and telling me I jinxed him on this one.
All right, take us through this one, Brandon.
Yeah, these guys are just battling hard, fighting for the bottom. Looks like Derek Kraus got in there a little hot, but definitely got pinched by the 27 of Taylor Riddle. Just fighting for that same real estate behind those 2 lap cars. It's just looks like a racing deal. I know it's got to be aggravating for Taylor, but you can see they're just both fighting for that bottom, trying to get around these 2 lap cars with just a few laps to go. Looks like the 19 started sliding up a little bit and just tags the 27, and around it goes.
So Riddle, 2nd and 3rd for the majority of this race, is now going to have to go to the back and just try to salvage something at what could have been a great night. Let's go to Derek.
Well, guys, it's a tough break for Derek Kraus in the number 19 machine, the Carlisle Tools by Napa Toyota. He got into the back end of Taylor Riddle as they went into turn number 1. The NASCAR officials saw it, and they assessed a 1-lap penalty to Derek Kraus. This is going to hurt his chances in the point standings right now as he sits 3rd in the points.
Yeah, that is going to affect him for sure. A rookie going for 3rd in the series. On the other end, there is some good news for Riddle. They had lapped so far forward. He's still on the outside of row 3 on this restart despite being spun. So an opportunity there, but taking advantage of all of this action is Nicole Bihar. That black and yellow car is 3rd now.
Nicole had some issues earlier on getting wrapped up with Takuma Koga down in turn 1. There we see Michael Self on the outside of row 2. I know he's going to be hungry, trying to get back into victory lane in this series.
Bihar in a backup car, so what a huge turnaround for her weekend. Maybe can make a run for the win, but they're all aiming for Eggleston. Gonna try to make that outside line work for the last time in the 99. It's been good all night, but look at the 7. Making it happen, Will Rogers, can he get the lead?
Looks like both of those guys spun those tires, but that's definitely the best restart we've seen down on the bottom. Will Rogers really pushing that 7 car, trying to hang tough with the 99 and Chris Eggleston.
And Eggleston once again controls it. Now 2 to go. Bihar is broken away from Self. Julia Landauer down to the inside of Self, trying to get to 4th. Eggleston, can he get away from Rogers with 1 to go?
Yeah, teammates back here. Michael Self in the 9 and Julia Landauer in the 6, really pushing their cars, trying to hang in the top 5, but Taylor Riddle has that outside line rolling, getting that good launch off of turn 2.
He's going to try to salvage a good finish on a night that could have been great. And there is Gilliland, who had his own problems tonight. And the one thing he didn't want to see was his teammates score max points. But that's exactly what's going to happen. Chris Eggleston from the pole to the win here at the Napa Auto Parts K&N Pro Series 150 in Evergreen. And well done, by the way, for Will Rogers, finishing up in 2nd, and Bihar 3rd from all the way to the back of the grid earlier in this race.
I know Will Rogers has to be really excited as he's trying to become an oval guy. That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, he challenged Eggleston right to the end in this one. We'll talk to our top drivers when we return. K&N Pro Series Racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. What a race tonight from Evergreen Speedway, the Napa Auto Parts 150. On paper, it's going to say Chris Eggleston led every lap, but it was a whole lot more exciting than that would indicate. He had two young drivers challenging him for the win, but ultimately he comes out on top, and this is big because he's in title contention as well, second in the points, but a whole lot closer now. Here's Derek.
Chris Eggleston dominates here tonight at the Evergreen Speedway. What a run for you in a race that you just had complete control over.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it at all. I mean, I felt like I was using it up. The spotter was in my ear every quarter of a lap, just trying to give us guidance on where second and third place was, so I knew how hard to drive it in and off. Ty, good job, Will, man, proud of you. Will Rogers, man, a road course specialist, giving me a run for my money, and that was a lot of fun in that last restart. I knew he was going to drive us clean, and just thank everybody with Napa Filters for believing in me and just helping putting this program together over here at Bill McAnally Racing. Thank everybody with 3M, Chicago Pneumatic, Trico Welding Supplies, all these great fans here at Evergreen Speedway, and then all these guys right here that build fast race cars. Bill McAnally himself, thank him, top of the world, you know. So, man, to come here second last year, I wanted that win so bad. We were able to capitalize and get our first win here at Evergreen Speedway.
Chris Eggleston tightens up that point lead between he and Todd Gilliland going into the last four races here in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West.
Fourth win of the season for him, and the Bill McAnally team has been perfect except for that one time where Kevin Harvick showed up at the road course in Sonoma. The teammates have won every other race. These are your final results. Self fourth, and Riddle, that hard drive on the outside in the last lap, it worked. He got himself to fifth ahead of Landauer. Levine, Souza, 7th and 8th, and Gilliland, 12th. That's really going to hurt after the flat tire. Cost him a whole bunch of points. Let's go back down to Derek trying to sort out a crazy night.
Well, the last time we talked to Will Rogers, he was sitting in victory lane at the Watkins Glen International, and that was on a road course. But here, second place on an oval, and not too bad for someone who doesn't consider himself an oval track guy.
Yeah, not too bad. Coming from a win last week to second place here at Evergreen, I know this place is hard to get around, and that's nothing to sneeze at for sure. Had a lot of fun, learned a lot. I think we're picking up our oval game, so who knows, maybe we'll get a win here soon.
Was that last caution your only shot at the leader, or did you feel yourself catching him? Because we were watching you on the time charts. You were a little bit faster than him, but just by a tenth or two.
Yeah, it's hard to really tell who's faster here when the gap grows. You know, it's really hard to make up time. We're just fighting drive off the whole time, so I knew, yeah, the restart was going to be crucial. And we put it in there as hard as, you know, we could without getting the 99 loose. I wanted to race clean, and we did. He ended up getting the lead, but, you know, still a great second place finish.
Not bad for a guy who doesn't consider himself an oval track racer. Will Rogers comes home in second.
Might have to start changing his mind on that one after a great drive tonight. So much talk about the points, and look at this. It's gone from 18 to 2 in just one night. Eggleston very much alive in this championship chase. Rough one for Derek Kraus, but he's still third. Let's go back to Derek.
Well, Nicole Behar destroyed her primary car in practice earlier in the day, rolled out the backup car, and it proved to be a pretty fast piece. And how good was that car tonight?
The car was really, really good. To unload and be that fast, that's just very impressive on my team, and I couldn't thank them enough for all the hard work this weekend and the hard work that's going to have to come. It was an exciting race to even start, 30 laps in. The 19 got a little impatient with the lap car, and the lap car collected me in the wall. First 75 wasn't very good, just trying to hang on and not get a lap down. And when we came in, got the brake, just being able to fix the car, put new tires on it, beat the nose out, get a little more rear stagger, it drove amazing. And I was hoping we had something for him at the end, have a green-white checkered, but we were just a little bit free off, and I'm happy with a third. That's like a win for today.
Was the outside lane the preferred lane to be in on the restarts?
I like the bottom because I could get my car to hook the white line, but it depends on what your car is. For my car, that's just what worked.
Nice strong run today for Nicole Behar.
Backup car, early crash, back in the grid, works way up to third. That's what not giving up will do for you. And don't give up on us. Our next show, the Wheeling Up Modified toward the Busch Beans 150 from Bristol. That'll be on Saturday, August 26th, airing at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, Todd Gilliland has now only finished outside the top 10 2 times in his K&N Pro Series career. One of them is tonight. His championship is alive.
It's all about timing in this sport. And Chris Eggleston with that 99 team has that timing worked out, putting the pressure on his teammate Todd Gilliland. It's going to be a great run to the rest of the year for the championship.
There's Gilliland. The tire problems ultimately did him in. A great run for Taylor Riddle, the 27, salvaging something. The 7 to Will Rogers, proving he could do it on ovals. But Eggleston seizing the opportunity, a big win with 4 rounds to go in this championship. For Brandon McReynolds and Dirk Pernasiglio, I'm Jason Wygant saying thanks for watching and congratulations to your winner of the Napa Auto Parts 150, Chris Eggleston.